Well, I wasn't planning on that happening. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Bizarre and the Unknown, where today we're going to talk a little bit more about dragons, and more specifically, we're going to be hitting up the Norse Dragons. Now, last time I did a show on dragons, I kind of hit dragons from all over the world, so I thought it'd be interesting just to kind of focus on, one type alone. Hey, Kevin. Um, yeah, dragons is an interesting thing, and that's what I. There is very few people in this world doesn't have not one kind of fascination or obsession with dragons in one form or another at one point in time in their life, if still not now. Dragons is an amazing thing. For many years, what we called dinosaurs was even called dragons. So it is steeped throughout our ancestral history, no matter what nationality you are. So, and that's what I love them. And I was drawn to them by the English versions when I was a young pup. So, it's like most everybody else. And you got all them stories about knights saving princesses from the evil dragon that's keeping them captive in the castle, and the stories like that growing up. It's a lot of us grew up on that stuff, and some of us grew up on their country of origins types of dragons as well. For mine, the English and the Norse were kind of mixed together. Yeah, and really I have too. I'm still a big kid. I still have a big fascination with dragons. I've always, my whole life, have believed that dragons still exist. They may not be as numerous as they used to be, because look how many knights and saints went hunting dragons to kill them. And that's a sad thing about humanity. Humanity is we destroy things we don't understand, or we go destroy things that goes against our narrative. So, I still have a love and a fascination with them. So one of the first stories I want to kind of get into is Ragnar Lothbrok. For those who don't know, um, there's actually a saga talking about how Ragnar Lothbrok killed a dragon to marry Asla. Roxanne says, in stories later in my life, read stories and lures that dragons and humans got along. Yeah, there's plenty of. There's plenty of stories where they fought each other. Plenty of stories where they worked side by side. Um, Sadly, most of your European side of it, they were hunting them. That's what knights did. They hunted dragons to save the realm. When all actuality, they were hunting them to get rid of the old ways. The church, when the church was getting rid of paganism, as they called it. I hate that term, but that's what people know it as, paganism. It's the old ways. Whenever the church was trying to get rid of the old ways, one of the things they had to get rid of was the things that our old ancestors used to worship or revere, and sadly, dragons was one of them. In one of the sagas about King Ragnar, is that he, hey Kyle, how's it going? So, Ragnar is the king of Sigrid, Ring of Denmark. Oh, my daughter's home. He had went to Jarl Gottelin Harold with his dragon problem. It was a snake type dragon. And it was a little bitty serpent that he'd gotten for his daughter. Was it Osla? Let me check my notes here. I believe it was Osla, if I remember correctly. Oh no, Thora. In Joplin, there used to be a pagan festival. Yeah, they do. This new generation's gotten on that term pagan. Pagan is a derogatory term that came about with the Catholic Church to disgrace and talk down the people who believed in the old ways. That's why I'm not a fan of the term pagan, is because it's a derogatory term brought upon by the Catholic Church. Uh, but Thora was held captive in her home by a serpent, a large serpent that they called a dragon. Her father had got it for her when it was very little as a pet, and it really loved Thora. So it came to a point where it circled the home and kept her inside. So Jarl Gulton hired, put out a bounty. Whoever can kill the serpent may have my daughter's hand in marriage. And this is how Ragnar got his name, Lothbrok, Hairy Britches. He's actually from this saga. And what happened was is he took a pair of can't remember if it was goat or cow. I think it was cow. He's in one of the rooms. I'm live right now. Sorry, guys. I can't remember if it was a sheep or a cow, and he dipped it in some pitch and tar, and this prevented the snake from biting him. And he was given this task to use, this type of clothing used by a seer, a holy person. And he was always told if he wore these pants, nothing could kill him. So he went, he made the pitch, he made the tar, he covered the pants in it, and made it really stiff. And even in this saga, it was talking about how strong he was. So he went up to this dragon and he fought it and he killed it and he broke the spear off in the dragon when he killed it. So therefore, he won the right to marry the Jarl's daughter. Well, he never told anybody what happened, and he left. And they were in the mead hall celebrating, and it took two people to carry this spearhead. And when they placed it on the table, the Jarl Gotland was like, "Whose spearhead is this?" Ragnar walked over, picked it up one-handed, and stuck it on his shaft. He said, "It's mine. I'm the one who killed the serpent," and he got to marry, the Jarl's daughter. So this story had two meanings to it. One is the how Ragnar fought a dragon, and the other one is talking about his experience, his exceptional strength. So, and that's the kind of down and dirty of it. Here's a more in-depth. Ragnar is the son of King Sigurd Ring of Denmark. Grows up to be a handsome and mortally adept, good to his men and cruel to his enemies, and a top warriors whom few could equal. And this comes from the Saga of the Volsungs with the Saga of Ragnar Lothbrok, 89. His first exploit is assisting the Jarl of Gotland, Hjorud, with his dragon problem, a snake grown out of proportion within their town, with one new outfit of shaggy trousers and cloak boiled in pitch. He spears the dragon to death while his clothes protect him from the fiend's blood. So in this dragon, I'm going to have to shut this door. I'm sorry. My daughter got home and Bucky is going nuts. Come here, Snow, if you're coming. Sorry, guys. But the dragon's blood was very venomous and very corrosive, and that's why he had to make the cloak and the breeches. This is just one of the tales from world history. It's not exactly how it is told when I was growing up, but I wanted to read it because it is another outlook on it. While Texas from the fiend's blood, receiving the Jarl's daughter Thora's hand in marriage as a reward. Their marriage is a happy one and results in two sons, Eric and Agnar. When Thora falls ill and dies, a heartbroken Ragnar goes raiding rather than ruling. And one summer, he sails to Norway and stumbles upon the farm where Karka lives, desiring to marry her. When he learns of her beauty, he sets her a test of wisdom, basically a riddle to solve. And the riddle was if memory serves me correctly, come to me neither clothed nor naked, alone nor companion, and not hungry, not hungry nor full. And it comes to find out this woman was, her name was Astrid, and that's how he became married to her. So that is one of the Norse sagas. No worries, Kyle. No worries. Um, and there's other dragons that's steeped in Norse mythology, very, very deep in them. Probably one of the most well known is Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent. Now, Jormungandr is the son of Loki and Egrbotha. Um, his brother is Fenrir the wolf, and his sister is Hel herself. Hel, one side is alive, and one side of her is dead. And she was sent to Hel, and Hel became Hel. Now, Hel, her name is not spelled Hell. It's spelled Hel. But she became the ruler of Hel. And so them three and their father bring about Ragnarok, the death of the old world, the death of the old gods. And Jormungandr and Thor are mortal enemies. Now, Thor will kill Jormungandr during Ragnarok, but at the end, when Jormungandr hits the ground, he spits out venom that surrounds Thor, and Thor can't get away, and eventually Thor dies. And that's how Thor dies in Ragnarok. But Thor has fought Jormungandr a few times before this and has defeated him each time. In fact, he was out fishing one time with a Jotun, and he used a cow's head, an oxen head, to fish, and he caught Jormungandr. And Thor fought this thing while the Jotun was like, cut your line, this is too big, we can't handle this. And the Jotun was scared, and Thor's like, I got this. And about the time he got Jormungandr to the surface and he raised Mjolnir to deliver the deathly blow, the Jotun cut the line, and Jormungandr got away. But whenever Odin found out about Loki's children with Engelbota, he sent Hel to Hel. He kept Fenrir around and raised him until he got too large. But with Jormungandr, he sent out into the waters. And Jormungandr grew so large that Odin ended up sticking his tail in his mouth, so that Jormungandr would eat his tail and quit growing. So whenever there's bad waves, the rumbling of the earth, that is Jormungandr tightening his grip around Midgard, causing this stuff to happen, or thrashing, which is causing the waves. Some did, yes, Don. Some did. Now that's a misunderstanding. They are called dragon boats, but not all of them had dragons. They would have bear heads and wolf heads and all this other stuff. And a lot of people don't understand, when they were coming into land, the heads were removable. They would take the heads off of their ships so they didn't scare off the good spirits of that land. Hey, Richard. Hell yeah, heck yeah, that's awesome. So a lot of people don't understand that. Now, we grew up thinking we seen these dragon-headed ships coming in and terror Vikings, blah 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 blah. Okay, that wasn't always true. That's not exactly spot on. Hey, Moon. They did remove the heads because they believed in the spirits, and they were very big amongst spirits, and they didn't want to upset spirits. So that's why they always removed the heads of their Viking ships, longships, before they came into shore, so they wouldn't do that. So that's a big misconception. And the other one is not all of them had the dragon head. Some of them did, but I mean they had different types of heads. It's whoever the Jarl was the one that chose what head went on his ships. But dragons are very, very, very steep in Norse mythology. Huge amount of them. In fact, they're long lines of some of the oldest cultures to ever talk about dragons. Dragons would aid them in war, and dragons would hunt them. So they both honored and revered these dragons, and so it's very steep in their mythology, very very steep, and it still is today. There's still some that to this day um, will tell you about the dragons that live under the mountains. A lot of people don't realize dwarves, elves, all that stuff comes from Norse mythology, and the dwarves live underground, and dragons are known for hoarding gold, so they're very well known of taking over dwarf domains. So that's a lot of that where you hear from that culture actually comes from the Norse, and the Danes and the Swedes and the Icelanders and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I mean, every single culture has something to do about dragons. And another thing people don't realize, there's actually four types of dragons. You got your water dragon, your fire dragon, your air dragon, and your earth dragon. What your water ones are your most commonly known as your serpent ones. Unlike Asians, now the Asian cultures, the dragons are serpent, but they can walk and they can fly. Most common of your serpent, which is also known as your water dragons, are the snake-like ones, like Jormungandr. He is one of them. The dragon that Ragnar fought for Thora, to win her hand in marriage. All those were water-type dragons that were serpents, and a lot of cultures will depict them that way too. Now, there's depending on what culture and what country you come from, depends on what type of dragon it is. Oh, no worries. No, you're good, Moon. A few dragons could take care of the DC swamp. Yeah, they could. Heck, one could do it. Dragons are very, very hard to kill. You study any kind of culture, dragons are hard to kill. And most of them is very common. It's their underbelly, which is the soft side, is where you have to pierce the dragon to kill them. And that's common in so many cultures. So many cultures. Um, in fact, with Jormungandr, when when Thor and who all went down there, Thor. I can't remember all the gods who went down to Jotunheim to gather up Loki's children with Ingerbota. You see, Loki was forbidden to have intercourse with giants. Loki was a Jotnar, part of the Loki clan. So a lot of people don't understand that. He's not an Aesir and he's not a Volnir. He's actually a Jotun. Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of them. A lot of them. Yeah, there was at one time a lot of dragons, which that really fits in with a lot of things because we're learning nowadays that everything we was taught in school about dinosaurs is wrong. Too many cultures have depictions of carvings or cave paintings or this and that. I mean, and we got fossilized creek beds. All this shows you that dinosaurs and humans walked side by side. Back then, they weren't called dinosaurs, though. Hey, freaky, they were called dragons. Do people still report seeing these often? Actually, yes. There's still reports to this day that come out all the time of people seeing dragons all over the world. All over the world, people are reporting seeing these dragons in storm clouds and these dragons. They're most of them. They're within clouds and bringing about storms and lightning strikes, or bringing around this, which stands to reason because some of these not all dragons spit fire from their mouth. Some of them had lightning. Some of them could cause earthquakes. Could cause severe rains and stuff like this. Yeah, there's been a lot of reports of thunderbirds, especially in Texas. In the U.S. side, Texas is a very common place of hearing about thunderbirds. I believe New Mexico is another one. If memory serves me correctly, New Mexico also has a lot of reports of thunderbirds being seen lately. Yes, ice storms. A lot of this stuff here. How's it going, Dorothy? a lot of these, dragons didn't always spew fire, and that's a very big misconception when it comes to these dragons. I mean, the serpent that Ragnar killed for Thora, and even Jormungandr, they spit venom. Their blood was like acid. That is very common amongst the water types or serpent types. That is very common amongst them. Um, your air dragons, known for storms, known for ice, snow, and stuff like that. Oh, thank you, baby. Um, so, and that's where people see the fire mainly. The fire legend mainly comes from England, the European cultures. That's a lot of where your fire ones come from. But there is fire that is along a lot of ancient cultures as well. So it's not strictly them. That's just the ones we know of that we think of. They actually come from European culture versus all these others. Now, that's the funny thing, too. There's also a lot of these, um, dwarves, elves, and stuff like that. Hey, Corey. Um, actually comes from Norway. The Norse, the Danes, the Swedes, the Icelanders, which got incorporated into the European as well. Corey said he found a Thunderbird I missed in the storm photo. I have taken over Comanche, Oklahoma. Oh, did you? I didn't see. I just seen that one. I'm going to have to relook at that picture. Heck yeah. 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 That's a good song. So you're going to see a lot of similarities in through cultures, but a lot of differences too. Now, Needhog is another one. Now, Needhog spends his time in uh, oh my gosh, it's like hell, but it's not hell exactly. Niflheim. Okay, Corey. Okay, yeah. That I was sitting there, blew that picture up, and seen that Thunderbird in that picture that you took. Yeah, you seen the cloud being, and I seen the Thunderbird in it during that weird storm. Yep, and that's in that video. I talk about that in that video I did of Corey's encounters. Needhog is closely translated to basically like corpse eater, corpse sucker. He feeds upon the roots of Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil is the great tree of life in Norse mythology. Yggdrasil feeds all the nine realms and has roots and limbs in all the nine realms. And so Needhog feeds upon the roots of Yggdrasil, but he also feeds upon the corpse that are sent to Niflheim. Um, so he's known to do that a lot. And he does not like the great eagle that sits atop Yggdrasil, and he has the little tricky squirrel, Raratos. He sends messages back and forth taunting the eagle. It's actually, if you go into my videos, Don, you'll see, we'll look for the video that says Corey's Encounters, and I show the pictures in there of that. I talk about his encounters and stuff. So if you go in on my YouTube and look up Corey's Encounters, you'll be able to see them pictures. But he's more of an earth type dragon. He can't fly. It says here, Needhog literally means, or what I was talking about. So people who don't know, if you die dishonorable death or you die of old age, you don't go to Valhalla or Vahol, is that is what it actually is, Vahol. You go to Niflheim, and you go to the realm of hell, and there you wander as a wraith. You're a nothing. You're a nothing. You roam Niflheim as a wraith, and Jormungandr feeds upon you. Heck yeah, man. Spent too long playing yarn with bad posture to have to stop that. And yeah, it's only paranoia if it's not true. Yeah, yeah. So, so Needhog is a perfect example of your Earth type dragons. They don't spit fire, but they can cause earthquakes. They feed upon earthly stuff, and they feed upon, of course, in Needhog's case, the dead, the ones who died an unworthy death or a dishonorable death. Your murderers, your thieves, your maltent people, people who died in bed instead of in battle, stuff like that. They all go to Niflheim as a wraith, and they're food for Nidhogg. So he's an interesting character. And the Norns, one of the Norns, spends her time not only weaving the fates of humans, but she makes a clay from Ymir's well and puts it on the roots of Yggdrasil after Nidhogg feasts upon it to help cover and protect the tree. You guys are awesome in this chat. And so one of the most common ones is Fafnir. Now, Fafnir wasn't always a dragon. Um, Fafnir was a dwarf, and Loki was down in the realm of the dwarfs one time, and he got hungry and he killed this otter. See, dwarfs were shapeshifters. Some of them were strong enough they could be shapeshifters, so they were known to shape their shifts. And fish, otters, birds, all kinds of different stuff. Dwarves were masters of magic and craft, and a lot of their weapons. I mean, Gongnir, Mjolnir, um, Gorman or Goldenbarsti. A lot of their crafts that they created had magical elements, and they used magic a lot. So they were really good with magic, with runes. Um, so they were able to shape their bodies into different things. I wonder if Thor had another brother named High Key to counter the low key. Yeah, see, now a lot of people don't understand. Loki was a Jotun, and he was blood. I can't speak. My mouth's getting dry. Blood sworn to Odin. That's why nobody was allowed to kill or harm Loki, because he was blood sworn to Odin, and Loki is the trickster god. He was known for playing tricks. He would do a good deed for you, but then do something bad to you in return. Loki's a trickster. He's no good. Loki's very bad. And Loki and his offspring with Angrboda, not his wife. He had an Aesir, Volnir wife, in Asgard, but he would sneak away to Jotun and had relations with Angrboda. Um, he was adopted, in a sense. He was adopted, yes. I mean, he was blood sworn to Odin, and that's why he couldn't be harmed. Um, so literally, he was an adopted brother to Thor and Bor and all them, Odin's children. um, because of this blood tie that he had with Odin. So, and with that blood tie is how he gained his godship and became a god in Asgard amongst the Aesir and the Volnir. But he was not Aesir and he wasn't Volnir. He was Jotun. Yes, a lot of things that you find. This is interesting how cultures come together in ideology, because in a lot of Native American lore, Coyote is the trickster. You can't trust Coyote. Well, in Norse mythology, Loki is the trickster. You cannot trust Loki. Um, so yes, the similarities are very canny between the two. And that's why I love it. And this is why I always tell people, if you actually study a lot of ancient cultures and religions, you'll see how they all intertwine together. That is a prime example. A very good example of that happening. So we must keep that in mind when we're studying ancient history and ancient cultures. Now, I'm trying to be a good boy. Hey, man. But, you know, Loki liked the dwarves, spent a lot of time with the dwarves, but he also played tricks on dwarves a lot too. In fact, when he cut Sith's hair, Thor's wife, Sith had long, beautiful, golden-like hair. And one of the many times that Loki got drunk and played a poor prank, he cut her hair so short that it even removed the roots where she was always bald. So Thor started breaking every one of his bones, and he said, "I'll come every single day and break a bone, and sooner, or in no time, I will get better, and I'll be able to do it quicker. But in the beginning, it'll be slow." And he started breaking bones of Loki, which caused Loki agreed to go to the dwarves and have some hair made that was like real hair, could grow and everything for Sith. Loki was always doing bad pranks. He was getting the Aesir in trouble or putting the Aesir in a bad spot. And then Loki was also the savior. So part of his penance was he had to save him from the bad pranks that he did. So you'll see how that ties in there. So yeah, you're right, William. He's just like Coyote. Uh, but Fafnir was a dwarf, and when the Loki's pranks was he killed this otter, not knowing it was one of the sons of a powerful dwarf that had very strong magic. I can't remember. He went to a dwarf named Andavari, and to pay a penance to killing this dwarf's son, he went there to Andavari and stole his treasures. And once Andavari cursed the treasure before Loki had finished taking it. And so when the father received the treasure, he all of a sudden took upon the curse of the treasure, and it caused him to be greedy and lash out against his sons. Well, one of his sons and him fought, and the son killed the father. Therefore, took the curse upon himself and outcasted his brother. Well, the curse consumed him so much that he took the form of a dragon, and he's known as Fafnir. So Sigrid, the daughter or the father of Asla, one of the wives of Ragnar, he was known as Sigurd the Dragon Slayer because he slayed Fafnir. And what happened was to avoid Fafnir's fire and wrath and might, he hid in some cracks, and he drew out Fafnir. And when Fafnir came running out of his cave from his hoard, he stuck his sword up and sliced the body open of Fafnir, and the blood actually kind of burnt Sigrid. And this is very common amongst a lot of Norse dragons. There's the blood is like acid; it burns. But he was saved, and then but that's that comes from the Volsunga sagas as well. The Volsunga sagas as well is the story of Fafnir, and these are like the main ones. What's your thoughts on the flat Earth map showing Asgard as a island outside the ice wall? I've not studied a whole lot on that, William. I have seen it. If I stick to my Norse mythology, I would say that's not real because Asgard is a different realm. There's 9 realms and Midgard's one. We live on what's called Midgard, and Midgard was made from the skull. We live inside the skull of the first giant, the first being, or the first giant called Ymir, and he was the father of the Aesir, the father of the Norse, the father of the Jotuns, and he was very mean and very evil. So one day, Bor and his brothers decided that, because back then there was only Muspelheim and Niflheim, the lands of fire and ice, and so in between those was called the Great Emptiness. There was nothing there, and so when Bor and his brothers decided to kill the giant Ymir, he took into Woo. Nah, not even close, Woo. Not even close. He took Ymir's brains and he tossed it up in the clouds that we see in the skies. That's Ymir's brains. He took his eyelashes and created a fence to separate Jotunheim and Midgard to keep the Jotuns from overtaking Midgard. So the trees was his hairs. The oceans is his blood. They grinded some teeth and bones and created the sands and the rocks and the earth. And so this is how Midgard was created, and Asgard is another realm, another part of Yggdrasil, the great tree of life. So it's another area. So about how do you access it is by the Rainbow Bridge. The Aesir and the Volnir used the Rainbow Bridge to travel around the 9 realms. So that's how you get to them, is through that way. So in my beliefs, for me, Thor is real. That's why I carry Mjolnir. I'm a warrior, and Thor is the warrior. He's the protector of Asgard. He's the strongest of the Aesir. He's the most powerful. He's known as the giant slayer and the troll slayer and all that, because that's what he does. He fights the giants. He fights the trolls. He fights all them types of people or beings, which they all live on Midgard. So when we go into battle, we're either carry Mjolnir. Gungnir's in my bathroom. I accidentally cut the sinew that I have for it, but I carry Gungnir too. So if you die, you either go to Valhall, which is Odin's castle, or mead hall, or you go to Thorfinn, which is Thor's mead hall. The Bifrost, yes, the Rainbow Bridge, the Bifrost. Yep. They went from Earth to Asgard to Jotunheim to all the places. The land of the dwarves, the Volnir, Volnheim, the land of the Volnir, all these places use the Bifrost. What's also known Bifrost or Bifrost, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is actually how it is. But it's also known as the Rainbow Bridge. So our ancestors are, used to, when they seen the rainbow, they thought that was the Bifrost. So the gods of Asgard were coming because they used the Bifrost. And the Bifrost was made from magic. So no giant, no troll, none of that stuff can cross it because it literally burn them. Get Hammer is a really good show. They speak English. I'll have to look into that. Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. I started watching it and I'm like, I don't know, man. Um, I don't know how well I can get it. It's not a bad show, but it really goes so against everything in Norse mythology. It's not even funny. But it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I've seen one or two seasons of it, and I was like, it's all right. That is actually a very good theory, William. The Bifrost being a wormhole. It fits it fits the tales pretty well. It very well could be. I mean, I don't know. I can't say for sure, you know. But yeah, I mean, it very well could be because it transports you from one realm to another very quickly. So, I mean, yeah, that is actually a really good. Hey, Twisted, really good theory. His enemies in the show are what look like humans, but they're actually mountain trolls. Yeah, they're Jotuns too. A lot of them are Jotuns as well. But yeah, I mean, I've seen the show. It's okay. That's my opinion. I'm just not a big fan of it. But I grew up on Norse mythology, so that's when I see that I'm like, and that's me critiquing. Roxanne says, "Were the dragons ice dragons or what? They were different types. There's different types of them. So some of them were ice dragons. Like I said, you got to think about the four elements. With every four elements, you're going to know a lot of things in supernatural deals with the four elements. It's always based around fire, water, wind, and earth. And in them four elements, you're going to have different types of beings that is of that element. It is in English, Freaky. You can get it in English. I'm just not a big fan of it. Wasn't Northern Lights used with? Yeah, Northern Lights was another one for the Bifrost. Northern Lights was another one. Yes, absolutely, Don. But they had rainbows back then too, so a lot of times they'd mistaken the rainbow as a Bifrost. Yeah, yeah, Dorothy. I mean, Stargate would be another good way to explain it. I mean, both of those are very good theories. They really are. I mean, that's really, really good theories. I can't dispute them one bit. Because they both hold a lot of weight. I can't tell you for one what it is or what it isn't. I can just tell you what the Norse mythology says it is. So, but if you look at it on a modern time and on a scientific level, Stargate or wormhole, which some will tell you a Stargate is a type of wormhole. A wormhole is a type of portal. So, I mean, it all kind of plays hand in hand if you go by that theory. It really depends on what theory that you go off of on which one fits with which. I kind of believe, black hole is a type of portal, and a Stargate is a way to create one to be able to transport. I mean, it's a type of portal or a type of black hole. That's just me. Taste the rainbow. Yeah. Taste the Bifrost. Yeah. So it really it's hard to say. But both of those theories, like I said, I can't dispute them. I really can't. When the English monks and were I think it was around 300 some odd years after Dane Law, the age of the Vikings, started writing down the stories of what happened during them times during the Viking age. Um, no kidding, no kidding, William. I mean, and that Dorothy, I mean, yeah, I mean, and that's why I say, I mean, that is a very good possibility. I mean, it's an extremely good theory because, like I said, it fits with a lot of stuff. I mean, it really does fit with it. Um, so, I mean, I can't say no to it. I really can't say no because it does. You know, um, if you study of a lot of ancient cultures, they talk about using portals to transport from one area to another. The Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, very well could be another way of describing that. They just didn't call it that. To them, it was the Bifrost. You know, absolutely. I mean, absolutely, it is. So I'd say that's definitely stuff worth looking into. Now, can we ever get the true answer of it? I don't know. I really don't know if that's one of the things that we could ever truly get a real answer on if it is what it is. Quit. Shit. So, could have swore I just heard thunder. Um, Now, Dragon. I was just typing that an ancient culture. If you look into that, they seem to link just different names. Exactly. I mean, and that's a prime example of different cultures coming together to being very similar. Absolutely. I mean, and that's why I'm always saying, that a lot of our ancient cultures are very similar. One of the theories I had was if you go on the biblical side of why so many cultures are very similar is because before the fall of the Tower of Babel, we spoke the same, we looked the same, we believed the same, we acted the same. And when God struck down the tower and split the tongue and split the people, we no longer could understand each other and we didn't look like each other. And that's why if you study a lot of these ancient cultures, they're very similar. The religions, very similar. All that is well within that. I forgot to show you the picture of the bear man earlier. I'll send it to you tonight. Okay, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Might be Thor hinting you need to use the name louder. Yeah, no kidding. There it went again. I mean, Thor could be striking his anvil. I mean, he very well could be striking his anvil. I mean, it's to the southeast of me. It's broken skies, but right above me and to the north, it's really cloudy out there. Cold front moving through Texas and storms are building along the line. Yeah, I'm up here in Missouri, but oh yeah, I mean it wouldn't surprise me. I wasn't able to make any sunty today because it's been mostly cloudy all day today. So and I didn't get to make no sunty today. I just too lazy to actually do it on the stove because I like to taste the sun tea better than I do stove tea. So it's me being stubborn. Yeah, that's why I hate arthritis, man. It gets the cold or rain, my bones get. I've been stiff all day today. It's been hard for me to get around, so I figured out we was probably getting a storm coming in. It's weird how that stuff works, barometric pressure. According to this here, it says Fafnir is the son of King Hiromar. um, Her- Herrimar, of the dwarves, who cursed by magical ring with insatiable greed, which ended transforming him into a dragon. The ring was once property of another dwarf called Andvari, and became cursed due to Loki's schemes. Fafnir ended his days slain by Sigrid, a legendary Norse hero. Fafnir might have been the basis for the fantasy dragon Smog in J.R.R. Tolkien's first high fantasy novel, The Hobbit, published in 1937, which further delves into the so-called dragon sickness of gold. It can also be said that much of the information on the dwarves, stemming from Norse Eddas and sagas, was adapted into Tolkien's work, particularly in The Hobbit, where some dwarves show many characteristics found in the counterparts in the Volsunga saga and the Pros Edda of Snorri Sturluson. Which, yeah, I mean, if you actually watch Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, a lot of that stuff is based off of Norse mythology. A lot of it. Oh, you're lucky, Kevin. We had some rain Friday, Saturday. One of the 2 days. It was nice, but the ground was so dry it soaked it up. Well, the wind just, or no, never mind. That's the goats. Um, but it dried it up so quick, and then the sun came out and humidity just shot through the roof. So, Gesta Dorum, bearing the striking similarity to the story of Fafnir and his gold treasure. This is one I wasn't familiar with. 12th century Gesta den Rum, literally the deeds of the Danes, written by Saxon Germanicus, tells this. Ay, nine, stop it. Don't chew on my stuff. Uh, the book tells of one of King Ford's tribes in which he found an island where a dragon had his nest in a cave on the side of the mountain. The dragon had an immense hoard of fjord immortality coveted it riches, just as which the dwarves Forthru might have also inspired Tolkien in creating the Hobbit Frodo. So, like so many cultures in Norse mythology, dragons are a sign of strength, also tied with greed, sadly, but they were a sign of strength. You know, ravens, a sign of wisdom, paralysis. You know, because of Hugin and Moonin, Odin's ravens, thought and memory. Um, Bears, another good symbol that they like to use. Wolves, another one. Dragons were part of them too. You know, and even though the monks, when they wrote the stories about the Viking Age, they tied them pretty much to dragons. That's not true. It was only partially true. They called them dragon ships when they weren't really dragon ships. They were long ships, and some of them had dragon heads, some of them did not. So that's one thing you have to learn. But it's, like I said, just like everything else. I mean, it was a symbol of strength, you know, of paralysis. I was thinking there were some better ones here that talked more in depth on these. Um, oh, that's very similar. I couldn't find the one I really wanted because I forgot to bookmark it, but it gives more along the lines of what I'm used to hearing. Stupid pop ups. Oh, this one. Okay, so this one gets more in depth on the story of Fafnir here. This is a good one. Odin and Loki were traveling when they came across an otter eating a fish. Being hungry, Loki killed the otter for their meal. Later, they came to a house and asked the owner, Hjarðmar, if they could stay the night. They showed him the otter as an offering for dinner. Hjarðmar, horrified, told them that the otter was his son, Other. He demanded compensation for his son's killing. Weird go. And even family members, it was called there it goes. Yeah, Wergild. The higher the status of the person killed, the more the compensation. Hedemod demanded that the gods fill the skin of his son, the otter, with gold, then cover it with more gold, so that it not so not to bite the skin or a bit of the skin, so that none of the skin would show. So I mean, there was a lot of gold. The gods agreed. Loki, of course, knew where to find the gold. He borrowed a net from the sea goddess Thran, and then he and Odin traveled to the pool of water. Loki knew that the dwarf and the Vori liked to swim there in the form of a pike fish. Apparently, the dwarves in Norse mythology like to transform into water creatures. Loki caught Andvari in Rain's net. And Andvari possessed a treasure trove. So Loki demanded the gold in exchange for Andvari's life, which much grumbling, Andvari handed over his treasure. But unbeknownst to the two gods, Andvari placed a curse on the ring that it would destroy anyone who possessed it. Loki and Odin filled and covered the otter skin with gold and unknowingly passed the curse ring to Hermar. Some of the gold that they used to cover the bag was red gold, which was rare and highly valuable. Hermar, although briefed at his son's death, loved his new hoard. So did his son. Fafnir desired the gold so much that he killed his father for it. He then turned into a dragon, like any good legendary dragon, sat on his treasure and guarded it. After hearing the story, Sigrid decided naturally to kill Fafnir and take his treasure. Rain confined Reagan confided in Sigrid how to kill the dragon. Um, Regan was Fafnir's brother. Oops, hit the wrong one. Sorry. Um, Sigrid was to dig a trench and then lie in it and wait for the dragon to pass by on his way to get water. When Sigrid was at work digging the pit from which to ambush Fafnir, Odin appeared to him as an old man and informed him to dig more trenches for the blood to flow so that it would not touch Sigrid. And if Odin appears to you, you listen. After digging the trenches, Sigurd waited for the dragon. On cue, Fafnir slithered towards the watering hole. When he passed over the waiting Sigurd, he plunged his sword into the dragon's underside. Fafnir died. Regan, who had ran off when Fafnir drew near, returned and told Sigurd to prepare for the dragon's heart to eat. What Sigurd did not know at this time was that Regan planned to betray and kill him, and then take the treasure for himself. Oh, thank you. I'll get back. Thank you so much, Roxanne. We're top of the hour, so I'm going to promote Dark Angel Medical. Here's the video. So, if you're looking for a great medical kit or first aid kit, go to Dark Angel Medical. Use cryptid code 20, DA's code, to get 20% off. It is FSA and HSA used. You can use that to buy the kits. You're going to pay a little bit of money for the kit, but it's absolutely the best kits in the world to use. You're going to pay a little bit of money, but they truly are a kit for life. If you use it to save a life, let Doc know, and he'll replace the kit for free. What are you used in the kit? You can go to YouTube or you can go to Instagram and find his videos on how to use his kits effectively. So go over there and get some of the kits. I love them. I have two of them. I've got one that I use with me out in the field, and I've got one I keep in the bed of my truck, or the headrest of my truck. So it's well worth the. Oops, I forgot to hit that. Well worth the money to spend. But you go to Instagram or YouTube, look up Dark Angel Medical, and they'll give you the shows. So where did I leave off here? Regan, who'd ran off when Fafnir drew near, returned and told Sigurd to prepare the dragon's heart to eat. What Sigurd didn't know at the time was that Regan planned on betraying him and killing him, and then taking the treasure for himself. While cooking the heart to eat, Sigurd tasted some of the dragon's blood. This allowed him to understand the birds that perched nearby. The birds were Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin. They spoke to one another of Regan's plan to betray and kill Sigurd. Learning of Regan's treachery, Sigurd cut off his head with the sword that Regan himself had reforged. Treacherous fiend dead, Sigurd collected the cursed treasure for himself and rode off to do more heroic deeds, like save a beautiful woman from an enchanted castle. Of course, much more happened to Sigurd before Andavari's curse caught up to him, but thus are the stories of themselves. And Sigurd married a Valkyrie, and their offspring was Astrid. So you know the story I was telling you about how Thor was fishing and he caught Jormungandr. I found that story here. In the story of Thor and the giant Ymir, Thor and Hymir went fishing together. During this fishing trip, Thor baited his hook with a head of an ox. Little did Hymir know, but Thor wanted to catch the world serpent Jormungandr. He was successful. With a giant world serpent on the hook, Thor had to use all his strength to bring it in. The whole time, Jormungandr thrashed and spit. Thor had to brace himself firmly with his feet, went through the bottom of the boat. But then Ymir, frightened of what would happen if Thor accidentally landed, the great beast cut the line. Jormungandr slipped back into the deep. And that was the story. And of course, I was always taught when Thor came up to land a killing blow is when Hymir cut the line. The Sunstone. William asked, what was the gemstone the Vikings used to navigate the ocean? It was the Sunstone. They was able to place it up on a cloudy day. If they can hold it up in a cloudy day and are allowed to find the sun, and it will allow a light beam to come down, and they can navigate according to where the shadow of the peg is on a round disc in the water, in a bucket of water, and it would tell them where they're at and what directions. That's how they navigated the oceans, and they were extremely successful for it. Now, some will tell you they learned that from a Irish monk. Other stories say it was something else. It's hard to say exactly how they learned to do it, but it was a sunstone. This thing's being retarded. So yeah, that's a couple. That was some of the stories that was a little bit more in depth. What I was looking for to try to tell you. When I'm trying to remember everything word for word, it's kind of hard because some of these are really long. Another time that Thor fought Jormungandr, he was in Loki land. So it was like a white. Why is my mouse not working? It was like a white gem, crystal, however you want to say it. And if you held it up on a cloudy day and looked around, you could find the sun, which allowed light to come down. So therefore, on a cloudy day, you can actually have light. So, and that's what the sunstone was, and that's how they navigated the oceans. It can only be used during the day, so it work on a sunny day. You didn't need to use it. It was used on a cloudy day when it was hard to see the sun. Very similar, yeah. I mean, it very well could be. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd say you're probably pretty close to it. I'd say you're probably really close to it. I wouldn't dispute that one bit. Like a prism, yes, a lot like a prism. Yeah, I mean, that's the same effect. But it allowed light to transfer through the clouds, but it had to be done through the stone only. And this was the only stone that could be used to do it. So it's really an ingenious way to do things. For some reason, my iPad ain't working worth the crap, so I can't do what I want to do. I'm trying to multitask here, so we're going to go this way. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's like that white topaz. I'm not 100% sure. But Thor and Man, my throat's so my mouth's so dry it's hard to talk. Um, this is a story of Thor and Utagorda Loki. Another story involves Thor, Loki, and two servant children who all ended up in the hall of the giant Utgarda Loki. Once inside, the master of the hall teased Thor, Loki, and the others for their tiny size. Not once to take kindly to insult. The party challenged the giants. Loki challenged them to an eating contest. Unfortunately, it happened. The opponent not only ate faster than Loki, he also ate all the meat and the bones and the trough itself. Um, the servant boy, Tafili, challenged the giants to a running contest. He was known as being the fastest human alive. Since being believed himself fast, only to have his opponent get so far ahead that he was unable to double back and pass. He was able to double back and pass Tafi again. Yeah, they are pretty. I need to look more into it, but I believe it is or something very similar to it. Finally, Thor stepped up. His first challenge was to drink from the drinking horn. Utgarda Loki told Thor that all of the giants could drain his contents in one drink. Two was acceptable, but that only more than that was shameful. Thor gave it a mighty try, but he was barely able to lower the contents. He tried again with little better showing, and then the third time in which he drained much more, but still not nearly enough. He gave up. The second challenge for Thor was to simply pick up Utgarda Loki's cat. Thor grabbed it around the middle and tugged, but only got the cat almost to lifted his paws off the floor. Now, now angered, Thor wanted to fight one of the giants. The Loki giants laughed at him and said he was no match for any of the giants, not even the young ones. Then he brought out an old female giant whose he said had been his wet nurse. Much to Thor's shame, the old woman bested the god. Upset and humiliated, the crew gave up. They spent the night with the giants and left the following day. As they were leaving, Utgarda Loki confided in Thor that he had not been entirely truthful and confessed what the contest actually entitled. Take it easy, Twisted. It was good seeing you. Loki had competed against fire, which consumes all. Tarfi ran against thought, and nothing travels faster than thought. Thor drank the horn, which connected to the sea, and then when they were actually they were a little afraid that Thor would drain it. The cat was none other than Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, and Thor had alarmingly nearly lifted it. The old woman was old age, and nothing can defeat that. Thor was angry with Utgarda Loki, but also knew he had been beaten. Knew when he had been beaten, he left and never went back. So I mean, it's just many tales of not just humans but gods battling with these dragons. I mean, it was a very, very, very common thing back in the old mythology. So we see a lot of this happening, and if you a lot of very similar to the European style stuff for the knights and the dragons. There, all that is very similar in what happened. Here's the one about Ragnar Lothbrok that's a little bit better. There's often accounts in the stories and sagas, including the tale of Ragnar Lothbrok, who was recently made famous in the TV series Vikings. In the old story, Ragnar heard tell of an earl, a jarl, who had given his daughter Thora a serpent he had found while out hunting. The jarl told her to feed it, which she did, and it grew into enormous size and soon laid waste to the countryside with its poisonous breath. The jarl offered Thora in marriage to any man who would rid him of the dragon. At this time, he was not called Ragnar Lothbrok. Lothbrok actually means shaggy pants. I always grew up knowing it as saggy britches, but it's the same thing. And his nickname derived from this fight with the dragon. Before meeting the beast, Ragnar boiled his pants in pitch, which somehow made him look shaggy. It protected him from the dragon's breath and blood, and Ragnar stabbed the creature, killing it. From that time on, Ragnar was known as Ragnar Lothbrok, Ragnar Shaggy Pants or Shaggy Breeches. Okay, yeah, it talks about it there. He got the girl and married Thora. So that's kind of a few of the stories in Norse mythology that talks about these dragons and what kind of role they played in the lives of the Norse and the Dane and the Swedes and the Icelanders. And that's pretty much it on them when it comes to that stuff. But I mean, you can go through a lot of stuff if you dig far enough, and you can find several other encounters with humans messing with dragons. There's a lot of it in there. Trying to get this set up. Anybody got any questions on any of that there? I know it's not a long one like usual, but I always found that stuff interesting, and I always knew that a lot of J.R.R. Tolkien stuff was Norse based, and he kind of talks about it in some of this stuff here too, because the similarities are just way too familiar. If memory serves me correctly, that's how the greed of dragons came about. It was actually from these sagas. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's how it came about. Was through the sagas. That is a good movie. The fiction movie I like is Reign of the Fire. That is a really good movie. It really is. It brings a whole new aspect of dragons. Yes, Draco is another name. Draco is Norse for dragon. It does, but that's actually how you say it in Old Norse. How you say dragon in Old Norse is Draco. So yeah, I mean, are they demon entities? I don't know. I don't put them in the line of demon entities. Although if you study the Anunnaki, they'll tell you how the planets were living, and they gave birth to giants and gave birth to dragons. Typhon, prime example. Typhon, who fought with Zeus, and Zeus killed, which now covers the northern part of Africa, is a prime example of that. So would you actually call them demons, or would you actually call them dragons demigods? I kind of put them more along the lines of they're a type of elemental. For me, just a lot of stuff that I've studied, and I could be wrong, and my opinion could change. The fact that they're tied to the elements would suggest that dragons are a type of elemental. But I could be completely wrong. That's just my theory. So, but I mean, they could be. They very well could be a demon. Absolutely. I'm looking for something that I think I forgot to bring in with me, which kind of sucks. I have been on the phone with somebody all day, and I'm talking to someone I'm going to be meeting tomorrow. He is. Lucifer is described as a seven-headed dragon. Absolutely. Lucifer is described as a seven-headed dragon, and one of the heads was dead, which was struck and killed by the archangel Michael. Michael Gabriel, I believe it was Michael. So, but yeah, I mean, you're right. And so, I mean, that would pose the question: could some of them be demonic, and some of them be elementals? Possibly. I mean, if you go on the biblical text of it or the Torah, um, it would suggest that that's true. But we study in so many ancient cultures that they are either A, cursed, or B, elementals. So I don't know, man. But I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, Lucifer is described as a seven-headed dragon. You know, when Lilith went to the seven-headed dragon when it was cast down from the heavens and it lifted its heads, cursing God in the heavens. You know, Lilith went to the dragon to request to bring back the Nephilim and to bring back the Nephilims, the ones that was like the old ones, the old giants, which is now known as Nephilim. Um, yes, we get the ball in the second half. Um, and also among some other stuff that she was asking for. So, yeah, which that, I mean, absolutely. Can that be what dragons are from? I mean, dragons, there's so many stories of dragons fighting gods, but there's also so many stories of them being protectors and helpers of humans, too. So that's why I kind of say, I mean, could it be that some were and some weren't? Absolutely, that could be what it is. You know, in Norse mythology, they're just natural entities, but they're also cursed entities as well. Sorry, I had to text my daughter for a second. Um, I'm waiting for that to catch up. Why is it not showing up? Oh, there we go. Now we just wondered the connection. You and me. Yeah, I mean it. Well, that's what I love about it. So and I didn't think about that, but I mean that would be a very good possibility. And so that's why I wonder if it's so many things we know are some of them are natural things and some of them are on the demonic side of it. So this very well could be the same thing when it comes to these dragons. It very well could be, you know. I really can't dispute that. Somebody having fries, I heard ketchup. um, that is good. That is a good thing to think about, though. It's definitely worth something looking into, William. Absolutely. Um, it's just weird though how so many of them are connected to the elements. But I mean, there is some evil elements too, elementals. So the fact that they're tied with the elementals on that, yeah, it could be. You're not the only one, Roxanne. I did too. I also dreamed of slaying dragons to win the princess. I dreamed of fighting alongside him and riding him into battle. This was all stuff I used to play when I was a pup. So, I mean, you are by far not the only one. But I mean, we grew up on them stories. I mean, that was a very common story growing up here in the Americas. So, but if you notice, like I said before, a lot of your European dragons are very similar. There's a lot that's different, but there's a lot of similar to the Norse ones, and that's because look how much of the European lands that the Norse took over and settled and married in with the Saxons and the Anglos. Before they came together and became Anglo-Saxons, and then even then, your Norse and your Danes and your Swedes and all of them and your Icelanders were marrying Anglo-Saxons. Oh, you take a good one. Got sound portals to open. Good night. You take it easy, William. Thank you for coming in, my friend. You be careful out there, brother. So, if we don't have any more questions, I can probably go ahead and start closing down because I ain't got much more I could talk about on that. I don't think. I don't want to keep everybody up. Me just here trying to come up with something. That'd be unfair to you guys. sound portals are code for snoring. Heck yeah. I was waiting to see. I don't know if DA's feeling good enough to have a show tonight. I'm not 100% sure. He's been starting to do story nights on Sundays. I was hoping he'd message me back, but I haven't seen a message from him. So keep an eye out in case he does go live here in 30 minutes to do a story night. I know he didn't have a show yesterday because it wasn't feeling well, so keep him in your prayers. I'm hoping he gets to feeling better soon. If you ain't following William, go to YouTube and look up William Nighthawk 6630. Give him a like, subscribe, and follow. Give him a thumbs up. Let him know I said hi. DA Roberts, same thing. Go to YouTube, look DAX Machina up. Give him a like, subscribe, follow. He's an author. You can find his books on Amazon. Look up D.A. Roberts, and you will not be disappointed in his books. I'm waiting on this thing to load up. This thing is taking forever tonight. Co-host of DX Machina. Him and Johnny have a show called What's Really Out There. Sorry, hold on a second. My daughter texted me. It's called What's Really Out There. Him and Johnny do a really good job. He'll tell you it's DX Machina Light. Go give them a like, follow, subscribe, let them know I said hi. Okay. Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress. If you go to YouTube and look up the Cryptid Huntress, she's really good. She has really good shows. I've been on her shows a few times. She's been on mine a few times. She's a lot of fun. Got a lot of knowledge. Looks at things in a totally different view, which is perfectly fine. Then go over there to look up the Cryptid Huntress on YouTube. Give her a like, subscribe, follow, and thumbs up. Let her know I said hi. Actor, my good friend, actor, researcher, now author, Jesus Payon Jr. If you go to YouTube to Breaking Discoveries or Breaking Bigfoot, you'll find him. He's got really good content. He doesn't put content out all the time, but if he has something good to share, that's when he'll post it on his YouTube channel. If you're good, go give him a like, subscribe, and a follow, thumbs up. Let him know I said hi. I'm waiting on that one. There it goes. If you're looking for a good hand-forged knife, you're going to pay a little bit of money for it, but Ken Brock is a retired law enforcement. He hand forges knives and sells them. Go to brockblades.com. He is really, really good. I'm actually talking with him right now, trying to get an old Viking sea axe made. Seeing if we can't get something together. But it's like Doc's products. You're going to pay a little bit more for it, but it is 100% worth the money. If you live around the Springfield, Missouri area and you're looking for a good mechanic, Nuts and Bolts Harley Shop. Go see Peanut. The guy is a wizard when it comes to mechanics on motorcycles. So go see him. Let him know I said hi. You will not be disappointed on Peanut's work. I'm waiting on. So for some reason, this stuff is lagging on my end tonight. I don't know why. So it's taking a little while. Yeah, we're talking about dragons, and I just seen a commercial on Kung Fu Panda that had a dragon in it. That is too funny. If you're wanting to donate to the show, I don't have enough to do the super stickers. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/bizarre and the unknown. That is one place that you can make donations. I'll never ask you for a dime, but if you feel compelled to donate, this is one of the ways you can. Peanut. Peanut's a hoot, dude. Peanut's a little short hoot. I like Peanut. He's a good guy. He does really good work. So, I'm going to go ahead and, thank you. My merch store. Another way, am I? I thought I was at, I haven't looked at it all day. I thought I was at 411, which would put me at, I guess that would be 88. Yeah. I didn't even know. Richard, thank you. Honestly, I haven't been looking at the count. Another way you can support the show is I have a merch store with Teespring. I own the domain, thebizarreandunknown.com, which is supposed to take you directly to Teespring, but you can go there and look up the Bizarre and the Unknown. I have several different lines of merchandise for sale, all different kinds to fit your fancy, and I'm always taking ideas for more merch. So I love doing it. Up until November 1st, you can get 20% off by using discount code TBATU20, which is the first letters of the Bizarre and the Unknown. So up until November 1st, you can get 20% off. You can find my books on Amazon, same as D.A. Roberts. You type in e.d.testerman, and it'll pull up my books. You follow me on there. You will get notified every time I have a new book release. So that's another way you can do it. If you got, I'm at 412 now. Thank you, Richard. I didn't know. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I haven't looked today. I've been talking with someone today. If you got encounters you want me to do a video on, I'm going to be redoing Rachel's and Juno's and Corey's. I'm going to be redoing those because I'm learning new ways to doing videos. So I'm hoping I can make the videos pop a little bit more and be more entertaining for everybody. You can email me at cryptidandmythological@gmail.com. If you want to be anonymous, I will keep you anonymous. I do respect your privacy and your with that, and I would never, never, never want to lose that trust with you. I hear the name Peanut, and I think of Purple Puppet at the. Oh, let Peanut know that. Oh, no, I need to, but I can't afford to take time off of work, so my teeth's going to have to suffer for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and close it down a little early tonight. I wrote a poem. I like to read this at the end of the show, and it goes like this. There comes a time when a warrior falls. They leave this realm and will be missed by all. Raise a glass and keep them in your heart. They have kept this realm safe and performed their part. Look to your veterans, your active duty, your EMTs, and the blue line. What they do or have done was walk that fine line. When the demon comes calling on your soul, they will be there to save us all. Hold them in your prayers, for they are deserving. They all have served or are serving. If you guys get a chance, man, thank your veterans, your first responders, and all those that they do what they do. Not a normal man can do. It takes a real man or a real woman to do what they do. So, let them know you appreciate them. Um, I am having a new newspaper article being released tonight at midnight. So keep an eye on my YouTube. I've got to do some more. I'm trying to have some done every Wednesday and Friday, but I've got to do some more research on Library of Congress. So when I get some more done, I'll get some more out. But I do have one that's releasing tonight at midnight. So with that being said, thank you all for coming in. To my new subscribers, thank you so much. I'm honored and humbled, and I appreciate it, every single one of you guys. To all my subscribers all together, you guys are awesome. I am truly blessed for every single one of you guys. So let's share this channel, let's build this universe, and let's together each of us learn from each other. That's why I like doing this. Not only do you learn from me, but I learn from you as well. And this is what I like doing. So until next time, y'all, peace, love, and blessings to you all, and I'll see you again.